All right, good morning. As soon as my tablet tells me that it is 5:30 a.m. for me, Pacific Standard Time, we'll go ahead and get started. Please let this not be hot. All righty. I act like that's something in there. That's decaf instant coffee. Okay, 5:30 a.m. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is me, Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers. Welcome to your morning mental workout for today. All right, first thing we're going to do is inhale and exhale 3 times just to get the mind quieted so we can use it. Okay, today's topic is look people in the eye when you talk to them. You will need note-taking material as always for today's live. You can use physical or digital, whatever path you choose to take that helps you to learn best. Additionally, you will need a second device as we will be looking at the website as well as the YouTube channel. Ironically, we're on YouTube, but that's cool and that's how that goes. Okay, so go to the website, theturnarounddoctor.com. From there, you are going to go to the 74 Principles of Real Leadership, theturnarounddoctor.com, the 74 Principles of Real Leadership, and we are now in the authentic section, and we are on number 3. Look people in the eye when you talk to them. Before we get into that, we need to understand how we arrived here. Neurogenesis is the creation of new neurons. Neuroplasticity is the creation of new neural pathways. And then neuropability is taking those new neurons and those new pathways and combining it with the principles of real leadership so that you can wire your brain to the 74 principles of real leadership and beyond, creating unlimited capacity or unlimited neural pathways for you to hold yourself personally accountable on a day-to-day basis so that you can access your best day in and day out. And how do we do that? We do that by using the executive function of the brain, which is the CEO of the brain. So without further ado, let's get this party started. Look people in the eye when you talk to them. Not only am I going over the 74 principles of real leadership so that you can understand and learn about them, but I'm also defining each word in each principle so you really get the totality and the full, complete understanding of each principle. So let's do that. Let's do this. Number 1 is look. Look is defined as an act of directing one's gaze in order to see something or someone. Good morning, Regina. Look, an act of directing one's gaze in order to see something or someone. People, human beings. We talked about that the other day. Human beings. Number 3, in. Used as a function word to indicate inclusion, location, or position within limits. Used as a function word to indicate inclusion, location, or position within limits. Then we have the word the. The is used as a function word before a noun. Used as a function word before a noun. I. And I looked this up because I was like, we say I look people in the eye, but then is it look people in the eyes? And I wrote this back in 2008. So we're going with look people in the eye. If you look it up, look people in the eye, you'll see that this still pops up. And if you have issues with it, it'll say why. You can't do it. So I, the organ of sight or vision. So the organ of sight or vision, when is at or during the time that. When, at or during the time at. You refers to the person addressed or to more than one persons, including the person or persons addressed, but not including the speaker. So it's one person or multiple persons, because as we know, you can be singularly or plural, and it's everybody that's involved besides the person that's speaking. Now, that's being addressed. And then talk. Speak in order to give information or express ideas or feelings, and converse, communicate by spoken words. So speak in order to give information or express ideas or feelings, converse or communicate by spoken words. 2 is expressing motion in the direction of. expressing motion in the direction of, and then them is to refer to people. So you're going to look at people when you speak to them, when you talk to them. You're going to look at them in the eye. Good morning. What questions do you have about the definition of look people in the eye when you talk to them? And even if you say, well, can you repeat one? Either way, just so I can make sure that you have everything. I am attempting to speak as slowly as I possibly can. And if you have no questions in queue, no questions, none, it all works. Okay. B. Okay. It is used as a function word before a noun. Used as a function word before a noun. In this instance, the noun that it's before would be I. E-I-E-Y-E. Or it could still be I, because that's a noun too. Okay. So what I'd like to say is this information is I've taken into consideration, because I'm going to use information from an article for Very Well Mind, How to Overcome Eye Contact Anxiety. So I understand that culturally there are cultures who eye contact is disrespectful. I understand that. This is not for those cultures. That's number one. Number two, I understand that people have SAD, which is social anxiety disorder, as well as autism, which causes people high anxiety to have eye contact. So I understand that. Okay. Having said that, I'm still saying look people in the eye when you talk to them, because even the article will address what you can do in the event eye contact gives you anxiety. Okay. So don't respond with culturally that doesn't work in my culture. I understand that. I respect that. And I also understand that people have mental illnesses. Got that too. Okay. So don't type, but what about? Okay. I already got that. Are we clear? Now, also, this is information. Should you define, or should you believe that you have some type of medical anxiety disorder or something that's stopping you medically from doing this, mentally from doing it, go seek medical attention. Okay. Now that we have that out of the way, here is what I'm going to start talking about. Why is it difficult to look people in the eye when you talk to them? Why is it difficult? So for people who are diagnosed with mental health conditions, the avoidance of eye contact can be related to shyness or lack of confidence. Yes, and I'm about to address that, Nola. Okay, looking someone in the eye while speaking can feel uncomfortable for those with mental illnesses, and with a lot of practice, making conversations, it tends to prefer that you not be in the spotlight. So if you have a problem while speaking, looking people in the eye, it can make you uncomfortable. It can be shy, and you can tend to avoid it because you're like, no, no, no. So people with that have mental illness, if that is part of your mental illness, you won't be able to do it because of your mental illness. We understand that. Okay. So there is this anxiety disorder called SAD. SAD is social anxiety disorder. And if you have SAD, your amygdala can trigger fear, and the actual eye contact can cause anxiety for you. So if you believe you have SAD, again, go to your primary care physician and get testing done to see if you in fact have it. But the thought, just the mere thought or doing it, that amygdala is like, oh, oh no, don't do it. And it can be triggering for you. So that's number one. So if you find yourself the heart beating and all, you're just like, oh, I can't do this. Now you understand that it could potentially be anxiety disorder. And again, you want to seek medical attention and go under the care of your doctor. Now, the avoidance of eye contact can also be the result of the fear of being judged. So the reason why you don't want to look someone in the face is while you're talking is because you think they're going to say something to you, or they're going to make you feel bad, use some self-righteousness and make you feel terrible. So then you avoid eye contact because you don't want to be judged. And then eye contact with autism. Autistic people are hypersensitive to eye contact, and they may avoid it because it causes them extreme discomfort and even pain. So if you've ever taken a picture, a person with autism could be fine, and as soon as that camera shows up, you get the stare. So again, these are conditions under which you need to be under medical care. Now, we did have a student that had autism. And so as a result of that, neurologically, you can actually rewire the brain so that that becomes less of an anxiety for you, because the brain is plastic. You have the ability to create new neural pathways through neuropability. So it doesn't mean that you can never do it. It just means that you have to work extra hard to get it done. Now, here is the power of eye contact. Making eye contact during conversations is an important communication skill. And as we know, communicate effectively is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. Now, I've mentioned this in the past. From age 0 to 11, all I did was sit around and suck my thumb. And unless I needed to assert myself, I didn't. Obviously, because I was getting bullied by my older sibling, and we got lived in a toxic household. So I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna just be quiet. But at 11 years old, I went cold turkey. I stopped sucking my thumb. We moved, and then I started speaking. So I tell people I've been talking because I'm making up for those. Been talking ever since then. I'm making up for those first 11 years. So to catch all my words and conversation up. But making eye contact during conversation is important. We as human beings need to be able to communicate effectively, whether it's written, whether it's virtual, or whether it's in person, because we interact with each other. So learning how to communicate effectively is a skill that is necessary. And culturally, if it does not go against your cultural beliefs, eye contact is how we connect with one another. Okay, that's one of the ways that we connect with one another. So the power of eye contact, it can also affect how you're perceived by others personally and professionally. So if you are doing all this, and for me, it's the shifty eyes. It's not necessarily the autism or the ADHD, but it's the I'm from Detroit, so it's the shiesty motherfucker that I gotta look out for. When we pull up in the hood, sometimes and Nola's doing appointments, sometimes I have had to stay in the car because of the shiestiness that's going on. People start seeing you taking equipment and stuff out the vehicle. You come back, next thing you know, you ain't gonna have no equipment and you might not have a vehicle. So I have to pull out a slight version of Dee from the D and just sit there like, yeah, anyway. So that looking back, looking around, doing, checking out, and seeing that is some shiesty ass eye contact, and that doesn't bode well. However, if you are just simply attempting to communicate with someone, good morning, Lola, then eye contact has to become this natural thing. And sometimes it's a lack of trust, sometimes it's a lack of confidence. Energetically, now I can actually feel people's energy, something I probably could do years ago. I'm just recognizing it now. So I understand if someone is not making eye contact with me in person, that I'm assessing what's taking place. I'll ask a question, defenses will come down, and then we will be able to get to the actual heart of it. But if somebody is completely guarded, then that eye contact will not occur. So here are some benefits to maintaining eye contact during conversations. People will more likely remember your face. If they're looking at you, you're looking at them, they're going to remember your face. People will be more likely to remember what you said long after the conversation has ended. We just followed back up with a mom and a sister who got their house built, and now we're doing, that's where the 20 shades were. So it's been about 18 months since we saw them. And we just, conversations, what are you doing? What is this happening? And all of this. And that was 18 months ago. So people are always amazed at how the heck you can remember something with all of the appointments that you've had and the time lapse between the last time we saw each other. Something I learned how to do in the military, because when people know you care, when you show you care. So I ask those questions, which helps me remember names and faces with that eye contact. It becomes very beneficial. So people are more likely to remember what you said after the conversation has ended. People are more likely to believe what you are saying. So because even though I'm looking at me, I'm still looking at you. And Regina, you've mentioned this, that it feels like I'm talking directly to you. So now you feel the sincerity in what it is that I'm saying. Or sometimes if it was Nola the other day, getting locked in that room and coming out. Anyway, you still feel what's actually taking place. And then people will perceive you as more confident and intelligent. I did do the announcement live video for today, and the majority of the video, I'm doing like this, I'm doing like this, and I'm doing like this. And then the whole lie to me thing, if you're looking up and looking left, you're lying. If you're looking up and looking right, then you're telling the truth. So those are factors as well. And then people will be better able to read and mirror your nonverbal cues. And so Nola has ADHD and ADD, and so context. And so I'm telling her, read the room, because she would just do something, having taken a picture, and I'm saying, well, that's not that situation. So it will allow you, if I'm sitting here very calmly and then I'm speaking in a monotone, then you kind of will lower your voice too. And that's what I was saying, when you have conflict, you don't go, ah! You kind of go, okay, and so what is actually taking place here right now? And then that will calm everything down. And so if I'm excited, then you can be excited. But if I'm kind of calm, or I'm standing here like this, now everybody's on guard because I'm standing here with my arms folded. So that NLP, or that mirroring technique, you now understand the situation is bad. If somebody's like, "Ugh," now you go, oh, this is bad. But if you're just sitting here very calmly, it helps to understand what is happening contextually in that particular environment. Okay, so overcoming eye. So what questions do you have about the power of eye contact? Why it's important and why you need to do it? And Nola, I'm coming up to the point about the reducing the anxiety and how to improve your eye contact. The last three. Okay. So it was, people are more likely to believe what you are saying. People are more likely to believe what you are saying. So it should be a total of 5, Kevin. The next one is, people will perceive you as more confident. Oh, I missed that one. People will perceive you as more confident and intelligent. People will perceive you as more confident and intelligent. And then people will be better able to read and mirror other nonverbal cues. People will be better able to read and mirror other nonverbal cues. So you should have 5, Kevin. Sometimes it's uncomfortable, and I look at the forehead. Yes, Regina, that's one of the suggestions that they have when I get to how to improve it. And then Kevin, just let me know if you have 5. Okay, good to go. Roger that. Okay, so overcoming eye contact anxiety. And overcoming eye contact anxiety, just as Regina has mentioned it, it's uncomfortable depending on who you're talking to, especially if you have to give a presentation in front of a group of people, whether it's virtually or physically. Some people are like, oh my goodness, one-on-one conversations, I'm good. Put me in a room with 50 people and you're going to lose it. Some people are like, I can perform in front of 50,000 people. Put me in a one-on-one conversation and I'm going to lose it. So this is something that happens. Fear of public speaking is second under fear of death. So people hate public speaking, and that's why I always recommend that people join Toastmasters, because it is a leadership and communication organization, great organization, international organization, been around for quite some time. I think since the 60s or the 70s. I used to know exactly, but it's been a minute since I've been on Toastmasters in a meeting or on the website. But I know it's been around for a long time. Long enough to know that it works, it's effective. I wouldn't be a distinguished Toastmaster if it wasn't. So if you find yourself having difficulty making eye contact, Toastmasters is a great way to get started. And it will help you, because you have so many different roles that you play in the meeting. You will find yourself having to engage with people, whether you're standing up, being a time taker, general evaluator, and all those different roles that the meeting has. Okay, good morning, Bree. Yes, so overcoming eye contact in anxiety, the anxiousness of, ooh, I got to look at these people. Anybody. You can learn to improve your skills and become better at making good eye contact with these 2 strategies. And again, this is coming from Very Well Mind. Reduce anxiety about eye contact and improve skills for making eye contact. So those are the 2 things that I'm going to be talking about. So how do you reduce anxiety about eye contact? So if you were diagnosed with anxiety disorder, then you can have treatment, and it's called the cognitive behavioral theory, or you can have medication. And so it's the CBT. So, and I've read about this a little bit more. And the whole point is that if you literally have SAD, actual disorder, you need to seek medical attention and work with them so that you can begin to start to create those neural pathways. If you just are just like, I just got a problem with it and I can do this myself, then here are some other things that you can do. You can also become less anxious through exposure, practice, and exposure. So you can also become less anxious through practice and exposure. Now, how do you do that? I have some examples in my book. I like these examples as well. So you start small with people who make you feel less anxious. So whomever you're close to that you can have conversations with, you start with them. You inform this person, I'm working on making eye contact, and so I'd like you to assist me with that. So when we have conversations, I'm going to be practicing my eye contact on you. Will you assist me in this? Because communicate effectively is one of the principles of real leadership, and in order for me to be my best, I need to be able to do this. So whomever your good person in your life, a trusted confidant, a mentor, a BFF, a sibling, whomever that person is, I need to start making eye contact. So then you start with them. You can say, I just want to work on this 5 minutes a day, and we're just going to have a conversation, and I'm going to do my best to maintain eye contact while we are communicating with each other. So you just want to start small. And then you can work your way up to bigger people that you need to talk to. So for example, Bree, you said you need to talk to one of the executives at work. If that's something that you're going to struggle with, then you want to start having small conversations so that you'll be able to have that bigger conversation going forward in the future. So you start with people you know, like, and trust, so then you can work your way up to talking to complete strangers. And whether that person is in a position of power, authority, or influence, I don't have that anymore. I had it for the first 11 years of my life, and I really don't care who you are. I'm going to look you in the face. I'm going to tell I'm going to have a conversation with you. Sometimes you might want to hear it, sometimes not, but you definitely have to work your way up. You can also create videos. So what was interesting for me is I could talk to anybody face to face. When I first started making videos, I'm like, I'm looking at myself. How am I going to connect with me? I know me. So I'm looking at myself. That's why I got so many videos, because I had to practice looking at myself for it to even remotely come across as something that I can do. Sometimes I'm still staring, especially if I have to reverse the camera. I'm like, okay, look at my eyes on that video. But it is what it is at that point, because I need you to be able to see what's on my shirt. Okay, so start small and then work your way up to talking to coworkers, supervisors, strangers, store managers, groups of people. So you start small and then you get accustomed to doing that, and then you work your way up and work your way up and work your way up. Because, Bree, I don't have a problem with folks at work say I'm accusatory, so I try to not be, but it's hard. So then for you, it's your tonality that you're working on. And that's what Nola, who's my daughter, she has ADHD and ADD. So she'll say it and it's got it, because she's a Sagittarius too. So what she says always has a bite to it. So at that point, you're working on tone, which is another reason why I say definitely get in Toastmasters, because it will help you with tone, pause, delivery, description, storytelling, and all of that. What I would also suggest for you, Bree, is to start recording yourself having conversations with people. Let them know I need to hear it. Because if you don't hear it, then you can't do anything about it. So just sit, talk at the table, hit record, start having a conversation, and then listen. Don't have an hour conversation. It's not you got to listen to it for an hour, but a quick 5-10 minutes, because then you will actually be able to hear it yourself. And now you'll know exactly what they're talking about. But you can't hear you because you're focused on communicating. So how could you hear you if you were already talking? And Nola couldn't hear it either. And then I recorded her and she's like, oh, okay. So we talk about tone, and if it's volume, I'll just do like this. It's volume, or I'll say, check your tone. Because you could say, hello, or you could say, hello, 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 hello. So it's the same same word, but the tone and the volume is what's making the difference. Hello. So then you do a little couple nonverbals with it too, and that's going to be a problem. And you sound mean. Exactly. And so the difference too is Nola, because I have a sternness about me, Nola will say, if I'm being stern with her, she will say, you're yelling at me. And I'll say, I haven't raised my voice at all. Well, I don't like your stern voice. Okay, well, I'm past yelling. I'm at stern. Stern is higher than that. I meant what I said. And so now she's like, she's stern. Let me get this done, because after, I don't even want to know what's coming after stern, because stern is enough for me to stop. So varying your vocal variety is what they call it as Toastmasters. So there has to be a difference between your normal communication, your sternness, your strictness, and your I'm angry and it's about to be a problem. So there's grace to it. Okay. So now you're talking to yourself, not talking to yourself. You can create videos And then, so then you'll be able to go back and look at what you look like when you're speaking. And what I recommend is that you look in the mirror while you're talking. One thing that I did way back in 2001 when I was getting ready to leave the military, way back before you could do anything really on the internet, I literally had a long mirror. And we used to still have to wear suits and skirts, couldn't wear pants to an interview as a woman, and you had to have a low heel with nude color stockings. So I had my blue suit on with my nude color stockings, and I sat in my computer chair and I looked in the mirror and I asked myself questions and I answered those questions. So I had my little billfold there with my resumes, and I would practice. I would open it up, I would take the resume out, hand the resume to myself, and then I would say, I'm glad you asked that question. And I practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced. So when I went to the hiring event with all the companies that the headhunters had put together, I was ready to go. So there was no nerves because I knew exactly. And I researched the companies way back then, which was way harder to find information out about them. No social media or anything. And I would say, well, I do have, they, when you get to the end of the interview and they say you have questions, as a matter of fact, I do. And then I would start asking them questions about the organization and all of that, which kind of threw a couple people off because normally people way back then were not asking them questions about the things that I needed to know about in order for me to say yes to that job. So look in the mirror, stand up, sit down, do whatever you got to do. Have conversations with yourself. Talking to yourself is natural. You're basically clearing out your head and bringing those thoughts out so that they can become clear, so you don't have cortisol or brain fog and your brain can stay clear. So it's perfectly okay for you to have a conversation with yourself. All right. Look in the mirror. Video chat is another thing that we can do now. So you can start talking to people through the video chat. That will help you because you can maintain eye contact. It'll allow you to move the device up and down to get more traction. And as Regina said, you can look at the forehead, but it'll allow you to focus in a very comfortable environment. And I'm saying that on purpose because in this instance, you actually need I'll say safe space. You actually need a safe space to do this, because if not, then the anxiety is going to get higher. Your amygdala is going to get hijacked. You're going to shut everything down in the frontal, access to the frontal lobe, and it's going to go left. And you might just get out the video chat, run away, run off stage. Okay. If you're face to face and you become anxious, go ahead and take slow, deep breaths to calm everything down. That's why every morning when we start the live, we do some deep breaths, because some of you are on the East Coast. There are people across the pond in different countries at some points, and we're all on different time zones. So we're saying, all right, let's just calm down. Let's get the executive function ready to help us learn what we need to learn for the day. So that's how you reduce the anxiety for the eye contact. You start with something small with people that you have a safe space and you communicate with them, and then you work your way up to start talking to other people. Nola has had to talk to strangers just because they're communicating with her in the chat. She doesn't meet them until she knocks on the door. So that's something that she has to do. She had to start developing relationship at Lowe's and Home Depot to start having contact with people, being on the phone, making doctor's appointments, and all these other things you have to do. So you have to start looking at people in the eye, independent of if you have a mental illness or not. And then from there, you can create videos. You can talk to yourself. I suggest joining Toastmasters. There's clubs all over. They even have virtual clubs now. Video chat. And then if you find yourself even looking in the mirror, you just feel yourself being anxious, breathe. And the other thing is that you can rehearse conversations until you get accustomed to doing this. So you can play the movie out, is what I call it, and how that conversation is going to go. Because one of the other reasons why you need to be able to maintain eye contact is handle conflict when it occurs, is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. And when you're in a conflictual situation, you definitely need to maintain eye contact, especially if somebody think they're about to pop off. So they need to know that dog don't hunt over here. So that's one of the other benefits. And that's why people don't like to resolve the conflict, because now you got to be there looking at whomever is taking the person that you like, yeah, I don't give a, you could be on the phone talking to your friends and everything. Now you're in the room when you got to go, ooh, ooh. That's why I tell people, when you're on lives coming and unaccountable people with their little disinhibition effect, okay, cool. But if you saw me in person, none of this would be taking place. There's just something about my energy in person, even though I'm only 5'6.5", 123 pounds, is a little bit different when you're face to face with me. You'll either resonate with it or be like, I'm across the street. It's all good either way. So what questions do you have about the reduction of anxiety about eye contact? So how you can actually reduce your anxiety? Okay, I'll take that as no other questions. And now improving eye contact. Okay, and I'm getting to what Regina said earlier in the live. Choose a spot to look at directly or slightly above the listener's eyes. So Regina says she looks at the forehead. You can look at their eyebrows. So it looks like you're looking at them, but you're just slightly above their actual eyes. So it's not obvious. You're not like, let me look at your hairline. So don't go that far up. Just stay right at the bridge of the nose, the center right here, somewhere right in here. If that makes you uncomfortable, start there. So look at the eyebrows a little bit above, like a little right here on the forehead. So you'll still be facing the person and just slightly above it. Okay. Try letting your eyes go slightly out of focus, which is added benefit, and it softens and relaxes your gaze. So don't do like this, because that's kind of scary. And then now you're gonna hijack their maybe look, because you're like, I'm making eye contact with you. I'm looking directly at you. And no, can you see answers? Regina, the last thing I saw was you saying sometimes it's uncomfortable, and I look at their forehead. That's what I see. That's your last answer that I saw for you. I did see you said no questions too. Did you type something else besides those two things? Okay, well, I'll see if something else comes up. Okay, K, I see the K. Okay, so choose to look at something up here, and then actually try letting your eyes just go a little bit hazy to soften and relax your gaze. So don't do like this, but kind of do like that, so it's a little bit softer. And then you can also look away occasionally. Staring too intensely may make the person uncomfortable. Just checking, had a problem buffering. Yes, ma'am, you are good to go. So it's okay if someone's talking or you talking and you kind of do like this. I notice that I do that in videos as well, because I'm thinking. So don't do this the whole time. So I'm making sure I'm making eye contact with you, and I'm just gonna make sure. So blink, you can look away and then come back. And then actually when speaking to a group, instead of just talking to the group and doing like this, because we'll say make eye contact with the group, and Toastmasters and people will be doing like this. That's not what you want to do. You want to address individual people or sections of an audience and speak to them, finish your point, move on to the next group. It's kind of like blocking with your eyes, and then do that. So you're having a conversation. You'll see people walk to the stage to the left, to the center of the room. If you're not on the stage, to the right of the room, and you just want to bring people in. So you just want to make sure that you're having this conversation with this one person or with this group of people, so that that you make that actual connection with the group of people. Now, there are also 2 tips that I took away. They had some more tips, but I didn't really believe that they were going to be applicable in this instance. So it is suggested that you use the 50-70 rule. And the 50-70 rule is maintain contact 50% of the time when speaking and 70% of the time when listening. So when you're speaking, and that's what I will do. So if I'm speaking, then I'm 50% of the time I'm eye contact. I might be making some gestures, but 70% of the time when you're listening, you're actually making eye contact, because I was definitely a terrible listener. That's why I sent the book twice, because I was very bad at listening. Not my back would be the other way. I would be doing all this stuff, not paying attention to it whatsoever. So when you're listening, eye contact is 70%. When you're speaking, because you might have to make a gesture, you need to think, look up, it's the 50% rule, 50-70 rule. And then also make gestures. So you can break your gaze to make a gesture, or just nod, so that people understand that you're listening to them, and then that makes them comfortable so that they can continue to speak. And so I used to do like this. And my first sergeant and company commander, when I was in Korea, they were like, "You people talking to you like, yeah, 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 uh-huh." So they said you're making people feel like they're hurt. You gotta hurry up, and get up, finish what you're saying. I don't have time for this. And so they said instead, just nod, okay. And then stop and say, may I ask a question? So then it becomes more about interacting and engaging and connecting with the person instead of this battle of hurry up and say what you're going to say because I'm getting ready to defend everything you said and you're not going to be saying all this dumb shit to me. So that's basically it in a nutshell. What questions do you have about the anxiety of eye contact and what it is that you can start to do to improve your eye contact? And Nola, let me know if I have answered your question that you had at the beginning, that you wanted to ensure that you can start to learn how to make better eye contact because of your ADHD. It's very windy here today. So I got nice little allergy things going on. We got some sneezing going on. Me and my allergies. Okay, great. So now go to your second device and you should be on the website. Yes, that would be great. And I know somebody that can assist you. You can check to see if you can get on her calendar today. She's off. So send a request and she might be able to assist you. Schedule a text message for her. Okay, so you're going to go to the turnarounddoctor.com. You're going to go to the social media tab. And then you're going to select YouTube, which is the first one, the most important one. And once you're there, you are going to see that the A&Q playlist is there right under the morning live, which you can see that's us being live right now. There are 8 of us watching. Okay. And you are going to go to the Why You Didn't Listen video. Okay. Regina is typing. So it's the turnarounddoctor.com, social media tab. YouTube is at the top. Select YouTube. It's going to take you to the home page of the YouTube channel. And the first list you will see is A&Q. There will be 4 videos of me. And the 4th one is me with glasses on. That's a Snapchat lens. Sometimes people are uncomfortable when you maintain eye contact with them. That is correct. Yes, ma'am, that is correct. And it is because it's just as hard to maintain eye contact when you're speaking as it is when you're listening. And again, when that happens, I just start asking people questions, and that usually calms the amygdala down. And now we can have conversations. So I'll stop talking about whatever we're talking about. Once you get people out of the So if we're at an appointment at the house, I'll start asking about the art, the kitchen. Oh, I noticed you got a lot of books. What's your favorite book? And that brings the conversation down. If we're in an office environment or professional environment, oh my goodness, that's an amazing blouse that you have on. Where'd you get that from? Is blue your favorite color? And now and then you go back into whatever the topic of the conversation is. If you see flowers, do you have a garden? What's your favorite flower? So they call them social cues. It's called free information too. So you look to see what it is that's taking place in the environment. If they have comfortable shoes on, you can say, oh, I know, I like having on some comfortable shoes. Tell you about if it's a handbag, oh my goodness, and bright colors, they're sanguine personalities, so then you can talk about fashion and all of that. So compliments work too, real genuine compliments work too. If they have their nails done, you can say, oh my goodness, those are beautiful nails, and not be insincere, but you're just really, because people like talking about themselves. So if there's grandchildren on the desk, so how many grandchildren do you have? Oh, is that a pet? Oh, I see. How many dogs do you have? What kind of pet is it? How old is the pet? Bring it all the way down. Okay, so A&Q on the YouTube channel, you are going to be looking at the third video. Why didn't you listen? You're only going to listen. I'm not going to play it because then y'all are going to hear it and that's going to create some feedback and sound. I've already watched it this morning to refresh my own memory from it because this is from 2 years ago. So you're going to watch that one video, and then whatever comes up for you, whatever resonates with you, whatever aha moment you have, go ahead and type that in. And then Bree, you can look at it later. It is the third video on the homepage of my YouTube channel. Why you didn't listen. Why you didn't listen. Yes, I don't have my glasses on. Yes, why you didn't listen. So go ahead and do that. And then after you watch the video, ... So I know that you've watched it, and type in whatever comes up for you. And the birds are chirping. Can makes the impossible possible. And that is one of the 74. I'd like to just really commend all of you, because what I have noticed for people who are in challenges, you all are really now using the 74 principles of real leadership. So you're recognizing when it's taking place. And so I read it. I can see it with Nola, but with you, I'm aware that it's now creating the actual neuropability. So kudos to you. Give yourself a round of applause for being able to do that and know that you're actually using them and recognizing that they're there. Because as some of you, when you first started, was like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, lady. What is this that you speaketh? I know not what you speak. And again, the reason why I started doing A and Q is because it's like Jeopardy. So everybody does Q&A. Y'all know I have to be different. So if I start with the answer and then ask the question, the brain has to flip to process that. Words were discouraging, not supportive. I choose not to hear the negativity. Yes. And because of this too, this was 2 years ago, I had no idea about negativity bias. So now that I know that that exists, this makes it even more amazing, because I was like, yeah, I ain't listening to that. Absolutely not. My answer to why I didn't listen when they said I can't would be because they didn't know what they were talking about. Exactly. And most of the time what I found when people say you can't is because they couldn't. So fear has stopped them, and their objective is to stop you, because either they attempted to do it and failed, or because they don't believe that it's possible. So believe in yourself. And as Kevin mentioned, can makes the impossible possible are two principles of real leadership that allow you to go and do what it is that you need to do. And that's why I said you can use the 74 by themselves. And then once you start combining them, now you have the ability to create all of these unlimited neural pathways, which makes you just limitless. And now you can go off and do amazing things that are best for you. So you turn that can't into a can, and how into now. And the procrastination is the enemy, but if you do it now you're not even going to procrastinate. So that's 3 right there that I combined. Okay, cool. Yesterday I'm following up with treat people with dignity and respect. If you had an opportunity to do that, go ahead and type that up. If you didn't have an opportunity to do that, then you can say the opportunity didn't present itself. And while you're typing yours up, I will say what mine is. And we know that I have been communicating with people on threads now as part of just a challenge for myself. And someone had a question that said something to the effect of, do you look your age, or do you look younger, or do you look older? And so I answered the question, and I said, I think I look I'm 51. I think I look 3 to 4 years younger. That's what I said. And then later in the day, this is in probably about 11 o'clock, later in the day, evening time, sun was still up. Someone commented and they said, I looked at your video and you look between 50 and 52. I said, okay, cool. So then I went back on there to see what other people's answers were. Some people put a photo, some people said younger, some people said older. And so then the energy from the comment didn't sit well with me. Felt a little tingy. So I went back, and that person, it was 216 comments. That person didn't comment on anybody else's video. I mean, not video, but their photo. Even with people who presented photos themselves, that person did not say anything. That person then, because I didn't put a photo, because what happens when I comment is I don't look at anybody else's comment. I just type, and then if someone says something, then I will go back and look at comments. That's just my process. So then I saw that this person hadn't commented on anybody else's. And as I mentioned, my Threads profile photo is of me in a burgundy, well-fitted dress with some hair and some makeup. It's an older photo that I had when I was just making profile photos. And I don't have the same profile photo on any of my social media platforms. Thank you for that. And so initially, I went to that person's page, and that person's name is Miss Know-It-All. Miss Know-It-All has 4 posts and says, I like making fun of people and memes. And then they have a graphic as their profile photo. So the 2% of me wanted to say something. But I remembered treat people with dignity and respect, because I'm like, oh, you throwing shade right now, because this is so not necessary. And I'm okay with looking my age. I got it. I'm about to be 52 in 6 weeks. But it was the fact that they didn't say anything else to anybody else. They came to my page, saw my profile photo, and then decided they were going to look at videos. And the problem was, how we got here is the problem was the video was the Be Honest clip. And the Be Honest clip was kind of pow, 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 punch you in your head. So then that's why the person decided to do that. So instead of me even getting into it, I simply said, well, you know what? Thank you very much. Because Be Honest is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. And thank you for taking the time to review my page and watch the video. And for honest feedback. And then I said, you have a wonderful week. Because at the end of the day, I'm about to be 52 in 6 weeks. It doesn't matter that person decided that Miss Know-It-All was going to come and do whatever that person felt the need to do, because at the end of the day, treating that person as a human for whatever took place for them to do something to that effect, and it was minor. But I did say, and then those say, oh, you're going to be nice, you're going to kill them with kindness. And I said, yeah, I'm not about to let this person stop me from what I'm doing, because again, if I'm dressed up, I got hate from the group that is not feeling me. And if I'm dressed down, then I got the other group say it. So it's very interesting how people respond and react to me based upon appearance. It really is. I should do some scientific research on it. All right. And then Virginia, you said, spent the day with my Buddhist friends community helping set up food with 2 people. We worked quickly, calmly, and looked each other in the eye to communicate where things needed to be placed. And also linked arms with someone and shared eye contact while enjoying the conversation. Well, that's awesome. And then Nola's ... So my point is, sometimes you have to override your natural inclination to want to not treat people with dignity and respect. And you just go ahead and do it based upon the definition that I gave yesterday of human dignity. And so that was that. But other than that, the opportunity didn't present itself. We only had one appointment yesterday. Then we went and got food. Went to Whole Foods and Trader Joe's. I think that's it. And then came home and had a somewhat peaceful, calm day. Once Nola responds, then I will, and I'm not rushing you, Nola. I'm just following up. I can say this, though. The real leader principle for today is to look people in the eye when you talk to them. So any conversations that you have where you are present with a person, if that takes place today, go ahead and maintain. And Nola, you've already mentioned that you will be doing that, practicing today. I assemble patio furniture for a customer efficiently. I was being nice to the son who was watching us. Yes, we were, because he was very interested. He even told, and when he's almost 3, he even told the dad to get him a snack. And then he got a snack and he sat at the patio door and he sat at the patio door eating his apples, watching us put it together. And the father said he had done some work putting some stakes in the ground earlier, and then the son went back and did the same thing. And I said, well, he might have an interest in this because Nola was forever taking something apart, sitting in cabinets, looking at hinges and everything else. So he definitely is interested because, you know, a 2.5-year-old little boy to sit down and just eat and watch, because he had a popsicle and that wasn't enough. So he needed a bigger snack and he sat there maybe about 15 minutes, which is still good for a toddler. So she had the undivided attention. Okay, so real leader principle for today is look people in the eye when you talk to them. So today, take what I've said, look at your notes, and go ahead and look at that. I have 2 questions today. I was reading something yesterday and it popped up to me to ask this question as well. So the first question is, what did you learn today? What did you learn today? And then you can go ahead and ... so that I know you're thinking, you didn't buffer or get kicked off or any of those things. One thing I would like to say is I wish I had virtual security. I wish I had a button that I could do that automatically would screen, because I can't see you all, but the top of my screen just has 868, whomever it is. But I wish I had a button to see who was trying to join. I wish you actually, and I don't have enough hours to make this private, and I don't really feel like I should have to do that on YouTube, but because of the unaccountability of people, I wish I could just see who you are and hit a button immediately to remove you from disrupting what I'm doing. Bree, why I need to be in Toastmasters. Yes, it's a great organization. Definitely. I think it's at that, but last time I checked, it's like $60 every 6 months to join. It's probably 70 by now. But I mean, you know, you can find a club and they have different theme clubs. So the club that I chartered was leadership, and it was for business professionals and entrepreneurs. They weren't communicating effectively with you, Bree. So you need to go to Toastmasters. And that was it. Your problem is you need to go to Toastmasters. And it's very difficult. You have to be an effective communicator. Yes, you have to be an effective communicator too. I am a distinguished Toastmaster, so that's probably why I could tell you the benefits of it. But it definitely is beneficial. And they have a multitude of clubs. So search, visit, you don't have to join. Most clubs will let you come 3 times before you have to join, so you can look and find the best club that works for you. And most places have them 7 days a week. In the morning and lunch. Ours was lunchtime talkers, and then they have them in the evening. Some meet once a month. Bon Appetit met once a month. Some meet every other week, and then there are some who meet every week. My club met every Thursday at noon. That's why they were called lunchtime talkers. Okay, and then the second question. Oh no, I'm sorry. I apologize, Virginia. You are still typing. Here we go. Today I learned that it's important to engage in society's expected norms in terms of communicating. It goes along with saying please and thank you, a way to not be perceived as rude. Yes, so it is effective communication. It's not, and a term that is put around that I purposely removed from this is socializing. So socializing is not communicating effectively. Socializing is chit-chatting and talking about current events. But just because you can talk about hot topics doesn't mean that you can actually communicate effectively with a person. That's not the same thing at all. I'm a social butterfly. Okay, just because you like to chit-chat, can you actually explain and communicate effectively so that the person on the receiving end understands what it is that you're talking about? I learned ways to make eye contact. Okay, great. And then the final question for this morning is this: what did you learn about yourself today? And so that will be a question that I will be asking going forward As I mentioned, I was reading yesterday and it came to me and I had to put it on a post-it somewhere. Yeah, here we go. What did you learn about yourself today? Let me start harder. All right, Bree, you said that I need to be open and curious. When someone suggested Toastmasters, I should have looked into it further. Could have been ahead. Well, consider the source and consider the environment under which it was said to you. So sometimes you can't hear what someone is saying because of who it is, because of conformity bias, and because of why they were saying it. And if it felt like they were saying it because they were going to benefit from it and they couldn't give you the features and the benefits of it, then that's why you didn't listen. And there's a Chinese proverb that says, when the student is ready, the lesson will appear. They say the master, but I say the lesson as an educator. So it wasn't time. Now you're open to it. So just circling back. They planted the seed and now I'm watering it so that you can get the full benefits when you go. Kevin, learn that want to, okay, hold up. That I want to feel confident to say, I am the standard for which excellence is measured. All right. You go ahead and start saying it. It feels great when you say it. You believe it. You're like, I am the standard by which excellence is measured, okay? Okay, get listen, you're gonna need a bunch of doggone tape measures, okay? Get that thing out that measures the miles, the one that rolls. Forgot the name of it. All right, Regina, I learned that there are times when I'm uptight about speaking. I will play out the movie in my mind or outline it on paper, and the practice prepares and calms me down. You reinforce this as being a good strategy. Yes, thank you for that. And as Nola is typing this up, Kevin, this one is for you. I believe I said that our adults are nothing but big kids. And so I use that, again, it's an exchange for us. I'm always taking things in, updating the algorithm. So today's PA for today, as well as the real leader brain, is that's right. Go ahead, Kevin. You better say it and say it with your chest out. You know what I mean? Like so they can hear you in the back. So adult, I looked up the definition of adult, and I don't know if y'all ever looked up the definition of adult, but I did, and I found two different meanings. Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. Adult, a person who has attained the age of majority and is therefore regarded as independent, self-sufficient, and responsible. And what that means, because you are an adult, is your right to vote, to marry, apply for credit cards, make medical and financial decisions for yourself, and sign contracts. That's it. So I know, right? Like, so you reach the age of majority and somehow you are self-sufficient, independent, responsible. You can vote, get married, apply for credit cards, make medical and financial decisions for yourself, and sign contracts. And we want to wonder why people ain't got their shit together. Excuse me. What? What? You talking about people ain't got no work ethic? That's why I said when Nola turned 18, I realized the clock started over and she's a 4-year-old adult. You typed what you learned already, Nola? I apologize. Yeah, I learned ways to make eye contact. I'm sorry. It was up above everybody else's. I apologize. So can you all believe that? This is the definition. So we have it. That's why on my video I said, I know the 74 principles of world leadership are necessary. Because then nobody, and think about it, you're an adult in most countries at 18. You don't get your frontal lobe till 25. So you ODFing out there flapping for 7 years, signing contracts, getting married, getting credit, making medical decisions. What? Based upon what? You got pre-K to start school, but you don't have pre-A. Ain't no pre-A, ain't no pre-adults yet. So I'm gonna spend the next 7 years in my pre-A. I'm in pre-A1, pre-A2, pre-A3. I said that. So you just grown somehow. You reach the biological age, and neurologically, you're supposed to know how to do all this stuff. And everybody confused why don't nobody know what to do. Where is the school at? Where is the learning platform? I went to school. My master's degree is in public law and government. That ain't got nothing to do with credit cards, getting married, voting, what kind of voting, making medical decisions, nothing. That's why the adult population is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And we just got this expectation where your parents should have taught you. Your parents were at soccer games, doing homework, plays where your ass couldn't sing, teaching you how to drive, keeping you out of trouble, keeping you alive. And all of a sudden, bada-bling, you're supposed to know how to do all this. How? If your parents didn't really learn how to do it, how you gonna be able to do it? It's absurd. I tell you, that's why you gotta start looking the words up. My niece is 22 and she says she's a baby adult and smiles because she knows she has a lot to learn. Exactly. She is a 4-year-old adult. And think about a 4-year-old. What is your expectations of a 4-year-old? So why would you not see that way? Exactly the same way. So the 74 principles of real leadership are what you need as a foundation for your life. Communicate effectively, listen, have fun, because you're wiring your brain to have the ability to vote, to marry, to apply for credit. And they didn't even have parenting in here. That's not even part of being an adult. And you making financial decisions, and you making medical decisions and signing contracts. That's what that means. This is the reason why there are 6.8 billion adults being personally unaccountable, because there ain't no manual for your brain or for adults. And you can say it, but if you don't have the neural pathways wired to be able to navigate through adult life day to day, that's why you ain't winning. You was set up for failure from the beginning. Just kicked you out the nest. Didn't even teach you how to fly. And all these expectations for people. And that's why, Bree, when you heard the person say Toastmasters, if you go back and they didn't communicate effectively with you, it didn't sit well with you. He's like, I don't know. Okay, what else? Got it. Especially if you were in a performance review environment. So what you gonna need to do is you need Toastmasters. Toastmasters like, hold up, why I'm catching strays over here. But now you understand the benefit of it. Okay, does anybody have anything else before we get out of here today? Thank you for your time and your ability and willingness to learn more about yourself and become a better person. Become a better actual adult. Gotta love it. I will forever be looking up words until I'm no longer here. Anything else? I didn't do no highlights today. It's okay. It'll be fine. I'm going to go today and try to find some more books on the brain. Noah keeps telling me I need a brain textbook. No, you'll be able to read it. You'll be able to understand it, but you need a textbook. I don't want a brain textbook. But I'm finding it difficult to get the information that I need. She said 300 to 600 pages too. Anything else for me? Okay. All right, I don't see any dots and none of that. So we're going to go ahead and get on up out of here. I will be back tomorrow. Same time, same place, same face, different brand t-shirt. You all go, oh, hold up, Regina. I see a few young people who are quality people, eager to grow and make money, but are floundering because they haven't developed skills and they aren't interested in college. Yes, it's difficult out here. And I think part of the reason why they're not interested in college, because Kevin and I are the same age. I'm a couple months older than him. Our generation was everybody, you going to college, going to college, going to college, going to college, going to college. That was what was. And now you have all these other earning opportunities, and it's not necessarily the way to still generate revenue. The millennials are very good at finding different ways that they don't necessarily have to go to college or do the traditional route. So that message isn't as strong as it was 30 years ago, 34 years ago when I graduated from high school. So that's that. The people in the world have gotten softer too. And what happened with the X's is we didn't take the grit from the baby boomers and I did, but we didn't pass that down to our children because we were so traumatized by the whole thing. We're just like, I'm just going to not do anything that my parents did. But that grit, that work ethic, that standard of excellence didn't get passed down. And so that's why we have a bunch of unskilled next level. That's the end. Okay, got it. We have these unskilled group of people without all of these things that they have. And the final thing I will say is I was talking to a client, she's 64, and I asked her perspective of what's taking place. And she said it. And then I said the issue is, again, and I've said this before, we don't have any big mamas or pop-pops anymore. Everybody's a sugar daddy and a grandma and all of that. So that wisdom is it, because grandparents teach parents how to be parents and then parents parent their children. That's gone. So now that passing down didn't take place. And now we're in this next back half of younger millennials and Zs that don't have these skill sets when it comes to adulting. But the workforce still expects them to know everything when it isn't happening. And that is because and we see it in sports. You're supposed to just be able to come to the school. There's no more getting you ready. You better be playoff ready and all these other things. It's just you're somehow supposed to know, I guess, through osmosis. But with the 74 principles of real leadership and everybody doing neuropability, we actually can create a better adult product, which will then be able to create better adults as people become adults, which is why I only work with adults, because I'm starting from when you start your adult life, not interfering, because it's not going to matter. I found that out with NOLA. Until you become an adult, you can train all you want, but until it's like if you're sitting in the passenger seat, you think you know how to drive until you get into the driver's seat and you go, woo, driving the car ain't how I thought. So until you are an actual adult, you pretty much can't understand or implement what I'm saying because you're still under a guardian or a parent, grandparent's care. All right. Thank you all so much. You all go off and have a great, phenomenal day. I'm in search of a brain book today. So we will see if I am successful. Once again, y'all take care. I'll see you tomorrow. Adios.